The FDA wants to speed up the amount of time it takes to get generic versions of complex drugs to market. The theory is that increased competition means lower prices, and the agency is wasting no time. Late last night, it approved Mylan's generic version of Teva's blockbuster multiple sclerosis drug. And look what happened to the stocks. Mylan soared, Teva tumbled. Meg Tirrell explains why this could be the first of more drug approvals to come.
The Food and Drug Administration doesn't control the price of drugs, but it does control whether drugs are approved. And that's a key part of the agency's strategy to lower the cost of medicines.
What I think the FDA is trying to do is use market forces in the form of more competition to put pressure on drug prices. Obviously, when things go generic, the prices of the drugs drop.
Late Tuesday, the FDA approved a generic version of a multi-billion-dollar drug for multiple sclerosis. The medicine is COPAXONE, made by Israeli drug maker Teva Pharmaceutical. The newly approved generic version is from Mylan. The medicine is considered a complex generic, one that's harder to copy under traditional approaches. And Mylan had been delayed several times at the FDA, making last night's approval a surprise.
One of the bottlenecks at the FDA were the so-called complex generics, which are hard to make or have some unusual tweak to them that are different than your typical white solid pill.
Analysts estimate Mylan could price the generic at a 40% discount to branded COPAXONE, now priced at $80,000 to $90,000 a year. They say it could capture as much as 45% of the market. The news drove Mylan's stock higher. For Teva, it was the opposite story. COPAXONE accounted for almost 20% of its $22 billion in 2016 revenue. With the new competition, Teva said today it expects its fourth quarter earnings per share will be reduced by 25 cents. The stock sank. Mylan's approval came just 2 days after the FDA issued new guidance for approvals of complex generic drugs. And analysts say more approvals could be on the horizon, including for generic copies of GlaxoSmithKline's asthma drug Advair and Mylan's EpiPen, itself the subject of scrutiny over its price.
All of the big troublemakers that we've read about in the news have probably been in this area.
In a blog post this week, FDA Commissioner Dr. Scott Gottlieb said the agency plans to introduce additional policies to bring more competition and lower prices to the drug market, promising, quote, "We're just getting started." For Nightly Business Report, I'm Meg Tirrell.